Hey folks, so today we're gonna see the new features what we have released in the latest release of TestZeus Hercules. So one of the feature is API testing. Now TestZeus Hercules is capable of doing functional API testing. What I mean by functional API testing here is that you have an open API spec of your REST API endpoints, and from that, what you want to do is that you want to find out a combination of APIs which you will integrate together to emulate your end-to-end testing scenarios. Obviously, you can do trivial positive and negative testing of a single API at any given time. That is out of the box available. It's just an API call, and you're going to capture and analyze the output format of the particular API. But beyond that, the real game comes into picture in API test is when you are trying to figure it out whether your integrity of the system is maintained when you do end-to-end flow. So here we are. In this example, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pick up a simple e-commerce example where my first idea is that I will first try to log in through an API, login API, and from that I will retrieve a token. Then from that particular token, I will try to get all the products which are available to me. From that, I will try to get my cart, and then in that cart, I will try to insert a new product with some quantity. And if that successful insert happens, I will say that my test case has passed and this whole integrity is working fine. So as you can see, this is the simple Gherkin file which I have written. It's a very loosely written Gherkin file. It is not something which is very tightly written, something like what we do it in the standard BDD framework. As I already explained why we have chosen Gherkin as an option, because it is very directive in nature, where the clues of words like given, then, and when, should helps the LLM to derive the values faster rather than negotiating with the standard English. Coming back to this, as you can see that there is a background where there is a login step being written and the scenario where it says that I have authenticated with the valid token. Forward to this is product endpoint. Then it says that the ID should exist in the product APIs. And then finally it says that from that randomly selected, pick one of the randomly selected product and then set a quantity of 2 and put it inside the cart. And the cart should give you 200. You can extend this test case and create multiple scenarios here. Sky is the limit. Okay, let's trigger this. What we can do. Oh, one more thing. Before starting this test, as it's an API test, it requires far more context than your whatever the website can give. When the website pops up in a browser, usually the website itself educate the agent that what are my capabilities. But here you have to tell the agent that what are the capabilities of this particular API endpoint. And for that, you just have to do a very simple thing is to provide the API spec. That means the open API spec to the agent. How you will provide that? Put it inside the test data. So as you can see, I have put an open API spec. It's a giant file kept inside the test data. And in the testdata.txt, which is just I've given the file name testdata.txt. Within that, I've just given the username password, which I has to use to create the token. Okay, let's go back to the test case. This is the test case. Now let's trigger this test case. We know the drill. Test Zeus Hercules -- project base. Whatever is the project base I've selected. My project base is OPT. You can pass the LLM keys and other things as well. I have already configured my environment, so I don't have to pass that. Let's go ahead. So now the execution will start. And here you can see that it has already spawned 3 types of sub-agents inside TestZeus Hercules. Now these 3 sub-agents are the ones which are browser agents, API agent, and then the third one, which is the security testing agent. All these sub-agents internally talk and give you a final answer from the medium of Hercules facade here. Okay. So now you can see that there is a login being done by the agent. After that, the token was retrieved. Then the token was stored somewhere in the cache for the time being. Then after that, we go to the product fetch. Let me go. Where is the product fetch happening? Yeah, there is the product fetch happening. Token is used to get to the product list. Now you can see that the product call has been done. There are a lot of product information which has been retrieved. Now LLM has tried to document it properly. And then from this, the LLM will select one of it randomly. Let's see what it has selected. So there we go for the product 2. Okay, so as the product was selected, let's see that now it has to do a carts call. So let's see what the cart call has been done. Oh yeah, so here it has selected the product ID 5 as the one of the random thing because I have mentioned it in my test case that select a random selected product and then set a quantity of 2 here. Coming back to the API call, as you can see, it is doing a product carts call with JSON data 5 and 2. Once the product call is done, it will give us a response saying that a product, random product, this, with product ID 5 was selected and added to the cart and quantity of 2, the cart was successfully created. And that's what our test case was. So the test case was to check whether the card is successfully created and we have received the 200 status code or not. And that we have confirmed, it has confirmed that verify that the status code is 200. It has finally verified it that the expected result, the response code of status code is 200 and the status code is 200. And that concludes the test case execution part. To see the result, we know the drill. We can go to the HTML file or the XML file. Let's see the HTML file, all green. It took 48 seconds to execute this end to end. And the second part comes to the API testing, which is very important, is that once the test case is executed, usually there's a RCA involved if in case there is a failure, where we try to figure it out what was the request and the response pattern and how many requests and how many response have been done in the overall test case. So now we capture it in a separate file here, which will go inside the proofs, apart from the traditional ones which we were doing till now, which were the screenshots and the video recording, which were browser specific. For the API case, there is a new file, which we call it as inside the proof API log. Now, inside the proof, within the test case name, whatever the test case or the feature name, within that, you will get the API logs file. And this API logs file will clearly tell you that what was the sequence of request and the response which has been received. It captures every possible data here. It includes the headers, the body, the URL, whatever the agent has triggered. So this is good enough to do the root cause analysis of your any kind of troubleshooting, whatever has to be done. After this, we can go to the output, which I've already showed you there. So this was the overall end-to-end max capability of what you can think of that ideal API testing agent who can do end-to-end testing should do. And TestZeus Hercules is capable of doing this end-to-end. That's it, folks, for the demo. Thank you.